Hi guys, Mike here. Welcome back to Treehouse. Today we're going to be doing a little walkthrough of one of our D&D adventures, Rivers of Pollin. Now this is a free D&D adventure on DM's Guild. Link will be in the description so you can check it out. You can even read along with me here, but I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail, talk about some stuff that's not necessarily on the page, and just talk about sort of the process that went into making it, and sort of just going through the adventure and explaining the writer side of it, what it's like to write it. This is the first one of these I'm done. I'm gonna do one for Festival of the Harvest Moon and any future projects that come out, which will be soon. But yeah, let's get into it. So this is Rivers of Pollin. This is the little cover photo that I actually made myself. I'm very pleased about it. You know, you've got the D20, D12, D10, tying bees and D&D together, so it's really quite cute. So inside the book here we've got Rivers of Pollin. In the Hive Mountains above the town of Pollin, the Honey River has run dry. Find out why. So it's quite a simple, niche little idea that gets your players straight into the action. And as mentioned on this page, all proceeds made from this book will be donated to the Bumblebee Conservation Trust. And if you want to donate straight away, you can just go to their website, bumblebeeconservation.org, and do that yourself. But yeah, get into the contents. It's a cute little bee. So we got introduction, we got the part 1, which is the setup, and the part 2, which is entering the hive. It's basically one big dungeon. I say big, small dungeon. This adventure, but cool. Let's get into it. So you got the introduction here. This is a short rundown of the adventure itself. It describes how you run it. When writing adventures and stuff, I like to run it in a way that you can play it almost straight out the book with very little preparation. I personally, when running sessions, like to just have everything there that I need, rather than having to, make things up on the spot. I like it there. Not to say that I don't enjoy making things up on the spot. It's just helpful, especially with a pre-written thing, that all the information is provided for you. So that's what we've tried to do with this. There's even little description boxes that you can read out loud for your players. You can paraphrase these or use these to come up with your own descriptions. Yeah, let's read the hook here. So the characters have been summoned to Pollin, a dwarven industrial city which prides itself on innovation and invention. When the Honey River, which is the source of all the power in the city, runs dry, they call for the aid of adventurers. The characters are brought before the industrial minister as he needs their help to solve the issue and fix the problem. But yeah, it should be quite a light-hearted adventure. You can make it fun by having your characters will create with a theme, maybe around animals. This can make the adventure a bit more light-hearted and give it that fairy tale fantasy kind of style. But there are some dark stuff in there, which we'll get onto in a bit. So part 1, we got the setup of Pollin. So Pollin is this dwarven industrial town below the Mustard Mountains. So when making Pollin and designing it, it was kind of the idea of kind of a steampunky dwarf industrial town with steam and stuff rising into the sky, but instead of using water or steam, they used hot liquid honey as their source of power, and all the machines and devices that work within the town are all running on this hot honey, this natural resource. Yeah, it's just quite a cute little idea, I think. And then we've got Goleg here. Goleg Hornbreck. He is the industrial minister. He's, a worker himself, kind of down to earth person who's been there. He's got his suit on for doing his crafting, but he's also still quite high up in the chain and doing lots of politics and stuff. He's going to that side of stuff. And he's going to reward you with badges naming you the Heroes of Pollin, and he'll be renowned within the town. So if you wanted to extend this adventure into something longer or continue it afterwards, then this would be a good reward for your players, and they can go and explore Pollin. Maybe in the future we'll do some more adventures in Pollin, or flesh it out, but who knows. So here we get into entering the cave. I'll show you the map of the cave before we read stuff. But here at the bottom, where it says 1, this is where they come in. And we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's all labelled there for you. So it's easy to follow your way. Also with it, there is a full-size map without the numbers. So you can put that straight into your virtual tabletop or print it off and run it in real life. But we got the Hive Cave. And the idea here is that it's like walking into a actual honey-coated, almost honeycomb sort of glazed rock. Yeah. Imagine like a crunchy bar or something. You crack open one of them and it's all this like crystallized honey inside. So I'll read this opening thing so you can just get that real sense of what it's like. The entrance to the cave is a large opening, round and smooth. It is clear that this entrance has been eroded by liquid over many years to form a smooth shape. Inside the opening is a large rocky cave with yellow, honey-glazed rocks lining the walls. The floor is soft and smooth and has a slight sweet smell to it. When you step onto it, there are small cracks and crunches as the sugar breaks beneath your feet. There are many pathways and openings leading off from the main passageway. So yeah, basically making the cave here, I didn't want it to be quite streamlined. I wanted to give the players a lot of choice, a lot of different ways they could go, find out and explore the caves themselves. So one of the options would be going off to the left here, and this would be where the lost miners were. This is where Golag has sent some miners to try and find the source of the honey and restart the river flow. But these miners have got lost, they couldn't find it, and now they've gone a bit mad searching for honey. So you've got Ranon Firebrand here. He's got honey sickness and he can't find his honey, so he's gone a bit crazy. Then the next section is another path that the players can take, is the Flower Meadow. It's a large, beautiful garden. Like when you think of caves, you normally think of dark and dreary. And I really wanted to subvert this with a large open area with grass, flowers, and just really pretty area. And it also made sense for the bees to have easy access to pollen and a way to repollinate the honey. If the characters keep going down that way, they'll find a lost bee, who's a large, friendly, fluffy honeybee. He's just a little worker bee, quite large, so about the size of a football, and he can't find his way out. So the players can help him, or he can give them information. He's just a little friendly guy that they can interact with. Because I always like to add sort of NPC characters into caves and dungeons and stuff. Sometimes they could be bad, good, but can really add like a "what are you doing here" kind of element. But this one's quite self-explanatory. The next section is a bit where the floor has collapsed, and you can see the Honey River running below. This is a little terrain encounter that the players can try and go round or climb over or just fall down into the hot honey and die, but let's hope they don't do that. So yeah, that's this section. And now we've got the main room and the first large encounter. So here is a large honey waterfall that's flowing down from the top and through. I've got a picture of it here. And here they meet Tuscan. Tuscan is a cursed pigman brute who is basically a giant pig bear man. He's very hard exterior and a big melee fighter for the party to deal with. However, he's not always going to be first to engage in combat. He likes to size up his enemies, and he just wants to basically do his master's bidding, who you'll meet a bit later on in the dungeon. He does have a very sad past, where he was once a pig farmer and tried to trick his master, and therefore got turned into this mutant pig man and was forced to serve him until he could earn his freedom, which is very dark for this story, but I wanted to add a bit of depth to this character so he wasn't just a stat block on the page, and you could really take this character wherever you wanted. He also has the Honey Blaster 3000 behind him in a chest, which is the magic item that can be found with this book, and it's basically a gun that shoots hot honey that will trap people and grapple them, but we'll get onto that later. So here we have another encounter with a giant wasp. This is just a wasp that patrols the area, and is part of the reason why the bee is lost, because he was flying away from the wasp and didn't know where to go, and he had to hide. This thing is just a small encounter to get your players to realise that there's other enemies in here and other dangers within the walls of the hive, basically. Not always as it seems. The next section is a fun little puzzle for the players. It's a kind of a walking path puzzle where they have to find the correct path. This can easily be solved with, I don't know, just a stick in front of where you want to go, but it's just about finding the right path and making sure you don't fall down the weak points of the hive and falling into and taking a bit of damage before the upcoming boss fight. Next up we have the sticky honey traps, which is an example of the Honey Blaster 3000 in action, but just kind of one-time use. It's just to slow the players down and not deal any damage, but to also show them how it can be used to trap a player and make them not be able to move, and be a little annoyance to the players. But here we go, we get into the final encounter now with Malou, who has a striking resemblance to Winnie the Pooh, but gone bad. So he is a large honey-craved bear with yellow skin, and he loves honey so much that he's trapped the queen bee here and is forcing her to make him honey all for him. He has little electric powers, and he has a little chain lightning attack ability, which can be deadly if your players don't realise what's going on. It can be really fun. I know when we played the test encounter, we had about 2 downs, and this is like half of them were because the players didn't realise that you couldn't stand too close together, and it created a really interesting encounter where you had to position yourself a bit better and think about where you were standing, not just running up and hitting the boss. So it can be really fun, quite deadly encounter, but that's what I wanted this to be. I wanted him to be a quite prevalent and rememberable kind of villain. But yeah, after he is defeated, you can free the queen bee and you can resolve the issue. Now she will tell you that the hive is 2 damaged by Malou, and will instead say that with the help of the people of Pollin, make a man-made hive and move in, but she's happy to provide her hot honey and keep the town working once again. Now, if you didn't kill Tussan, he's freed from his curse when you kill Malou, and you revert back to his natural state. He was a dwarven man, and it explains here that he's a pig farmer. But if you did kill him, then he'll just revert back to his dead dwarven form. But yeah, that's pretty much all goes for the story. You've got the stat blocks here. for all that you would need. And you've got Maloo stat block. He is challenge rating 5, so I'd recommend. Yeah, you maybe might want to adjust the hit points depending on how many players you have. If you don't have the max amount, then it might go a bit south. But it's meant to be a challenging combat, because the one thing I like about one-shots is how dangerous they can be. I like to make them quite dangerous so that they're memorable. And here we have the Honey Blaster 3000. So it is a long-range net, and a stronger net basically, that you can use your action to fire. So it's kind of a support weapon that you can use to grapple large enemies, make sure they can't get close, and then you can give your melee combatants advantage and stuff. It's just not a strong magic weapon, but something that fits into the theme and could be quite useful in the right circumstances. But yeah, here's the full outline of the map. And included is a small little detail on how to make a bee hotel. This is to raise awareness for bees, just fitting into the theme. But yeah, that's all of Rivers of Pollin. There is, as mentioned, all proceeds for the module will be going to the Bumblebee Conservation Trust. And do check out the other titles as well. I'll be doing a walkthrough of this one, but I hope you did enjoy. This was a new experience for me as well, so we're both along for the ride. But I hope it was interesting to get my insight. I hope, yeah, you go check out Rivers of Pollin for yourself if you haven't. If you have already played it, let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.